All right, hey guys. So Chase Knight here. I'm going to be answering a kind of three-part question that I had from somebody on Instagram. His question was in regards to managing an affiliate. Okay. So number one, I am not the owner of CrossFit FIF, but I am the co-founder of it. I am the head coach, manager, however you want to kind of say it. I do have a partner. She is financial backing of the gym. She owns the gym outright, but we have a nice partnership. Anything that happens in-house, I kind of come up with a game plan. I run it by her, get the okay, and then we just kind of normally roll with it. So the question that he had involved kind of three parts. So it was about programming, coaching, development, and retention. So I'm going to highlight those three questions and just kind of talk about those and kind of give you my perspective and how I feel that somebody should move forward with an affiliate. Take it or leave it. So number one, he asked about programming. Okay. Programming is a big part of a CrossFit gym, right? Because it is kind of that blood flow, that lifeline that ensures that people are moving in the right direction. So number one, people want to ask, should I outsource my programming, right? There's a bunch of affiliates out there, a bunch of CrossFit gym owners, maybe experienced athletes and coaches that outsource their programming. As an individual, I think that's fantastic. There's nothing wrong with finding a program that kind of fits your. I'm not very fond of it, and I'll tell you why. So number one is that programming, even though it's good programming overall, and maybe as an individual that's good, but that might not be what's best for your gym, right? If you have, say, a bunch of rope climbs programmed into the workout, but like you're my gym, and we only have one rope that only goes up to 12 feet because of our size and location, right? Then that workout doesn't really mesh well. Now, obviously there's modifications and scaling that you can do, sure, naturally, but if it doesn't fit your gym's needs, it doesn't make sense. So when you're talking about programming, you want to make sure that you understand, your audience, you understand your athletes. So outsourcing wise, I don't believe that you should. I believe that the head coach or whoever is programming should have kind of like the hearts and minds of their athletes in their head. So when they're programming the workouts, it reflects what their gym is like, their equipment, their size, their space, things like that. And that's stuff that if you outsource it, they're not accounting for, a 2,000 square foot CrossFit facility versus a 10,000 and 5 rowers versus 15. So I don't think that outsourcing it is the best route. Now, if you know you're not good at programming, outsource it. Okay, know your strengths, know your weaknesses. So yeah, that follows up with know your audience, right? If I have a bunch of 40s, 50s age athletes and they're just kind of like getting into fitness really for the first time, and they don't like being competitive, then like I'm not going to have insane workouts, right? But if I got a younger audience and a younger audience where athletes enjoy being pushed, then I'm going to probably have a little bit harder workouts in there. So again, know your audience. And as far as programming is concerned, do CrossFit. Okay, the hour-long class is for CrossFit. That's what it's there for. CrossFit, the normal structure is 3 days on, 1 day off. That's ideal. I know that's not ideal for a lot of people's schedules. So most people do 5 days on, 2 days off. What we do specifically here at FIF is we do a 3 days on, 1 day active recovery, 1 day on as far as programming if you come Monday through Friday. So it's 4 like regular intense style workouts, with a little mix here and there, and then Saturday partner workout. So a lot of athletes do choose to do 3 days on, 1 day off, 2 days on, 1 day off. I think that's a great protocol to follow, but it works well for our gym. But do CrossFit. A lot of affiliates will do a strength before a Metcon or even possibly a skill. I don't think there's anything wrong with that as long as you're keeping it to no more than 3 times a week. If I do 3 days during the week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Monday, Tuesday, Friday, and so on, then I'll make sure that the following week only has 2 strength lifts. You don't want to bias your programming, and that's where this don't dumb down comes into play. I want to make sure that when I program the workouts, like I program everything. You program everything, right? You're going to teach squat snatch. You're going to teach, single arm overhead squat. You're going to teach kettlebell cleans and snatches. You're going to teach box jump overs. So I do see some coaches and some programs where they'll make the workouts very basic. One, they don't want injuries, and there's nothing wrong with that. But 2, it's a lot easier to coach. I like the challenge of coaching. I want to be challenged personally, and I want to see what I can take somebody to from point A to point Z. And you're only going to get there if you push the programming a bit. Okay, so don't dumb down the programming just to make it easy. Coaching development. So every one of my coaches has been in-house developed. I've been coaching for about 6 years now in CrossFit, and I've been a fitness instructor since 2010, and I've been in fitness since I was 15, right? So about 15, 16 years. So as far as all my staff is concerned, though, everyone has been an athlete under me first. Then they do a shadowing program. Now, I don't set the amount of hours. It's based off of the person individual, right? If you push yourself and you're working hard to understand the language, how do I instruct, the flow of classes, you're going to pick up on things a lot faster. Where I have an issue is when people think more hours means better coaches, and that's not true. I've had coaches that have shadowed for a minimal amount of time and who have become some of the best coaches that I've ever have and seen. So a lot of it comes down to heart and personal responsibility on the coach. So I don't believe there's anything wrong with outsourcing your coaches either. So if say someone comes to your gym, they're like, hey, I really want to coach. I've been coaching for a while. If they have that experience, like give them a try. See how they do in the class. Does the class mesh well with them? It's also on the head coach to introduce that new instructor, right, and to kind of break that ice too. So I do see a lot of gyms who will only hire from in-house, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But I also don't think there's anything wrong with outsourcing coaches either, because I've had a few coaches who have moved away, and they had a really hard time finding an affiliate to coach. These guys were great. So now they are coaching, and they're doing a great job still. So, I wanted to see them continue on as coaches. Passion versus profit. You got to want to coach. You got to want to be a coach. You need to have that passion for not just CrossFit, but health and wellness and taking care of others. So if you're not passionate about seeing that person succeed, right, and you're just there to get a fucking membership, like get the hell out. I don't approve of that. None of my coaches are here for just their membership. Like that's not it at all. Because if they were, then pay for a membership and you can train here. But make sure that you believe in CrossFit and the methodology in order to get people to where they want to be and should be. There's nothing wrong with profit. There's nothing wrong with making money. But I promise you that if you put the people first, that the profitability will come. And even if it doesn't come as fast, right? I don't believe in selling yourself short and selling your soul to fucking get more members in the door. I believe, stay true to who you are, care about what you're doing, and people will see that and they'll notice it. So, and last but not least, there is more. As a coach, you need to give more. It's very easy to get complacent with athletes that you've been coaching for a few years. You know their movement patterns, you know how they are, and it's easy to go, that's just how they squat, or that's how they clean. No, make them better. So even on burpees, I spent 10 minutes the other day, 15 minutes before a workout that was about 15-20 minutes long, and I spent that time working on burpees and how do we get more efficient. Now some people had them, but some people didn't. Well, cool, even if you have it, like you can still get more repetitions in and clean it up. But then people were like, holy crap, like that is a lot easier. And that's kind of the point, is give more, right? You don't need to settle as a coach. You need to focus on how do I keep this person improving. It doesn't matter if they want to be competitive or not. What matters is, are their movement patterns, are they better? Are they cleaner? Are they more efficient, right? Is their technique solid? Are they staying safe? Cool, let's push the intensity. Let's get stronger. Let's get faster. And it's on the coach to kind of encourage the athletes to do so. So give more out of your coaching. And last is member retention. So this is where a lot of people struggle, and they struggle mentally because when they lose a member, and just like me, I do take it personal, but I understand it's also not personal, right? Life happens, and people are going to leave your gym, and people will, go to other gyms because maybe the environment wasn't right or something. And I'll give you one example for my gym. We do not have the mom and pop population. We don't have the late 40s, early 50s, very few. And that's because I created a culture within the gym that's very specific. And I had a gentleman who was in his late 40s, maybe early 50s. And, he would come in and train. He got incredibly fitter over about 2-3 years. But long story short, He went to another box, joined their noon class that had like 4 or 5 guys that were around his age that consistently go. And he pulled me aside and was like, "Hey Chase, I'm really sorry, but like I'm gonna go to this gym just because like I want to be around people my age. I got it. Like no big deal. That doesn't even like I understand. I don't have that population. So it's okay when things like that happen and to not take it personal, because I have heard of other boxes leave their gym maybe to come to mine, and like the owners and the coaches are just kind of like rude to them because of that, and I don't think you should be. Like it's not good business. But know your athletes, know them personally. I make it very much a point of pride for knowing who my athletes are in the gym and outside of the gym. So when they come in, I know about their families, I know about their jobs, I know if they're not doing well right now, and they feel that, and because of that connection, it also builds that trust and rapport. So spending that time to actually get to know your athletes after class, before class, when they come in, you need to use their name. You need to acknowledge their existence. During class, you need to acknowledge them, and when they leave, you need to acknowledge them. So 3 times, like their name should be heard, from them. Be authentic. Be authentic to who you are. Okay. If you're not the cheerleader, don't be the cheerleader, right? If you're not the tactician and you're not super technical, don't try to be. Be authentic to who your personality is, and that's the one thing that I like about having so many different types of coaches in my gym, is I could tell you, depending on how you are as an athlete, which coach would probably be the better coach for you, but at the same time, you should be going to all of them. It's going to give you a much more wider range of eyes and ears on you, whether it comes to cueing, whether it comes to seeing movement patterns. So there is a huge benefit to going to different coaches. So, for me, I'm very much a technical coach. I teach the nitty gritty. I get into some pretty good detail. But then come game time, like once the WOD starts, like I'm pretty quiet. I watch, I'm attentive, and I pay attention to movement patterns, but I'm not a huge cheerleader. I don't like it. It's just not my style, and my athletes know that. My military background is very much like I'm looking for the movement patterns. I'm paying attention to that, not if I'm so hype all the time and I'm just trying to hype everybody up. Cool, like people are motivated, but then like I might be missing something because I'm too worried about being energetic. So that's my authenticity, and that's who I am. So I play to my strengths, and I know my weaknesses. So last is come into my gym. The number one thing I ask them is, what is your goal? I don't care specifically what your goal is outside of, cool, if that's your specific goal, then how do we facilitate that? But if an athlete comes into the gym and they're just coming in to waste an hour, no, like that's not worth my time. That's not worth your time. I'm not the coach for you. So you need to come into the gym with some type of goal. I have a member who just started with us, and his goal is he has a child who's disabled in a wheelchair, and he needs to be able to move her in and out. I have people who have medical conditions and concerns, and they're trying to stay off chronic disease. Fantastic. That's a great goal. My wife, she does it out of the pure necessity of life. So she doesn't like training, but she does it because she knows that it allows her to keep up with our kids. So, you don't have to be competitive. You don't have to have the goal of, I want to go to the CrossFit games or a competition and just smash. Like, cool, but look at the bigger picture. Health and wellness is a marathon, not a sprint. So understanding that, you need to come in here with some type of goal that's going to motivate you to keep coming in day out, because like at the end of the day, if you're working hard, it sucks. It's hard. It's difficult, right? Or everybody would do it. So come in with the goal. And last is creating the culture within the gym. If the gym feels authentic and it feels that they know you and they're invested in you as a coach and you're invested in them, they'll stay. And it really remains true when people do leave, right? And whether they're leaving, I've had changing of schools, graduating, job change, relationship issues. I've seen every type of person. And, and then there's a handful that, CrossFit's not for them. They're looking for their own age category or people who they feel they can relate to. Great. That's no problem. But my culture in the gym is probably right around the late 20s, early 30s. And the people who want to be pushed. That's it. Like, that's all there is to it. Now, everybody falls in that spectrum, right? So I have people who can barely squat, and I have people who can squat 500 pounds. I have had, really obese athletes and really, really skinny athletes, right? So the skinny athletes want to put on weight and not be weak. And then the, overweight athletes, obese athletes want to lose weight, so their blood pressure is not through the roof. And both have happened, right? So, but the biggest thing is that I'm pushing their goals. So if you're here to waste an hour, I don't want you. I really don't. Like, that's just all there is to it. I'm not the coach for you, and I don't coach people who just complain about their time and don't want to be better. That's not a good time for me. That's not a good time for you. That doesn't make the environment at the gym, all hunky-dory where people want to come. So, create the culture within the gym. And here's the thing, if you're a coach at another affiliate, the culture that you create in the gym also comes off from your coaching itself. So you don't have to be the owner in order to create culture. If I'm a coach and I'm going to go into the gym, then I'm going to, motivate my athletes. I'm going to coach the shit out of that class. So that way, like, other coaches see it, and then people see that those athletes want to come to my class. So like that's really important. And real quick is be the best. Okay, so like that was the last thing, or one thing that I missed. But be the best coach that you can be. I make a statement that I'm the best coach in Kansas City. I wholeheartedly believe that, but I don't believe that I'm not the only best coach. Like, that's the difference, is that I want every staff member that I have in the gym to want to be better than me. I think that's the only way it should be, right? If you are an athlete, you want to be the best athlete you can be. Now, when you do so, you bring everybody else up too. Like, that's the kicker, is I don't think there's anything wrong with saying you're the best, and I don't think there's anything wrong with believing it, because if you don't have that positive self-talk, you're never going to push yourself to be the best, okay? But it also understands that in order to be the best, there is always room for growth. You're never going to be the top, right? So I'm always chasing myself, next step, because even when I hit it, I realize that, and I've done this before, and this is why I'm saying it, is because, like, there's times that I can look back on my past coaching career and that I got complacent or I got stagnant, and I wasn't trying to learn more, and I wasn't trying to coach even better, because I was like, well, I'm already a great coach, so why should I? That was the wrong way of looking at it, and so it took a long time for me to realize that. And so I think that everybody should say that they're the best at what they do, and because you're striving to be the best, and that's what it's about. It's not about, like, I'm better than everybody else. It's I'm striving to be the best version of myself, so that way I can bring everybody else up. So I really encourage everybody to try to be the best that they can be individually in order to make sure that the collective succeeds. So there it is. So those are the 3 questions. If you guys have any more questions, please shoot them to me, and I'll do another video. Thanks.